Brahmaji explained to Narad Dev that this temporary world is the work of the external potency of the Lord, and that the conditioned souls struggling here for existence are the marginal potency of the Supreme Lord. The two of the energies, external and the marginal, Jiva and the Maya Shakti. So there is a great conflict and how Jiva is under the influence of the illusionary energy. The personality of there is no cause for all these phenomenal activities but him, Hari, the Supreme Lord, who is the primeval cause of all causes. This does not mean, however, that the Lord himself is distributed impersonally. He is aloof from all these interactions of the external and marginal potencies. In the Bhagavad Gita 9.4, it is confirmed that by his potencies alone, he is present everywhere and anywhere. What is the verse? 9.4 without seeing the book? Who remembers? Very important phenomena. So many times we are discussing the 9th chapter in IRI also. What verse is this? Moli, which verse is this? This is the wonder of Krishna, which is described in this verse and the next. Why are you taking so much time? Yes, Pradeep, after a long pause, you decided to speak.
मया तदं यदं सर्वं जगदव्यक्तमूर्तिं मत्सान् सर्वभूतानि न च
Bhutani.
बीजेषु अवस्थिति.
Yeah. By me in my unmanifest form, I pervade over the entire existence or creation. It is confirmed that by his potencies alone, he is present everywhere and anywhere. Everything that is manifested rests on his potency only. But he, as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is always aloof from everything. The potency and the potent are simultaneously one from one another. True. One should not deprecate the Supreme Lord for the creation of this miserable world. Just as one should not blame the king for creating a prison house in the government. The prison house is a necessary institution of the governmental establishment for those who are disobedient to the laws of the government. Similarly, this material world, full of misery, is a temporary creation of the Lord for those who have forgotten Him and are trying to lord it over the false manifestations. He, however, is always anxious to get the fallen souls back home, back to Godhead. And for this, he has given so many chances to the conditioned souls via the authoritative scriptures, his representatives and his personal incarnations also. Since he has no direct attachment to this material world, he is not to be blamed for its creation. Now comes the glory of Srimad Bhagavatam. Idam Bhagavatam Nama यन्मे भागवतो दितं संग्रहो अयं विभूतानां त्वामेतद् विपुलाकुरु. O Lord, this science of God, Srimad Bhagavatam, was spoken to me by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Lord Krishna directly spoke the transcendental knowledge to Brahmaji. And it was spoken as the accumulation of his diverse potencies. Please expand this science yourself. This is Brahmaji saying to Narad Muni. The Bhagavatam in a nutshell spoken by personality of Godhead in about half a dozen verses. This is the 4 essential verses. We will see that verses, it will come. In the 9th chapter, these 4 verses will come. Prabhupada is saying here 6. Which will appear ahead is the science of God. And it is the potent representative of the personality of Godhead. He being absolute is not different from the science of God. Srimad Bhagavatam, Brahmaji received this science of Godhead from the Lord directly, and he handed over the same to Narad, who in turn ordered Srila Vyasadeva to expand it. So the transcendental knowledge of the Supreme Lord is not a mental speculation by the mundane wranglers, but is uncontaminated, eternal perfect knowledge beyond the jurisdiction of the material modes. The Bhagavad Puran is therefore the direct incarnation of the Lord in the form of transcendental sound. It is the sound incarnation. Shabda. And one should receive this transcendental knowledge from the bona fide representative of the Lord in the chain of disciplic succession, from the Lord to Brahmaji, from Brahmaji to Narad, from Narad to Vyas, and from Vyasdev to Sukdev Goswami. From Sukdev Goswami to Sud Goswami, and so on. The ripened fruit of the Vedic desire tree drops from one hand to another without being broken. Sorry. The ripened fruit of the Vedic desire tree drops from one hand to another without being broken by falling suddenly from a high branch down to the earth. Therefore, unless one hears the science of Godhead from the bona fide representative of the disciplic succession, as above mentioned, for one to understand the theme of the science of Godhead will be a difficult job. It should never be heard from the professional Bhagavatam reciters. They earn their livelihood by gratifying the senses of the audience. यथाहरो भगवती नरनाम भक्तिर्भविष्यति सर्वात्मनि अखिलधारे इति संकल्पया वर्णया. Please describe the science of God with determination and in a manner by which it will be quite possible for the human being to develop transcendental devotional service unto the personality of Godhead Hari, the super soul of every living being and the summum bonum of all entities. Srimad Bhagavatam is the philosophy of devotional service and scientific presentation of man's relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Prabhupada is explaining what is Srimad Bhagavatam. It is a philosophy of devotional service and scientific presentation of man's relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Prior to the age of Kali, there was no need to, prior to the age of Kali, there was no need for such a book of knowledge to know the Lord and his potent energy. But With the beginning of the age of Kali, human society gradually became influenced by four sinful principles, namely illegitimate connection with women, intoxication, gambling, and unnecessary killing of animals. Because of these basic sinful acts, man gradually became forgetful of his eternal relationship with God. Therefore, man became blind, so to speak, so to speak, to his ultimate goal of life. The ultimate goal of a life is not to pass a life of irresponsibility like the animals and indulge in polished way of four animal principles, namely eating, sleeping, fearing, and mating. For such a blind man, human society is in the darkness of ignorance. Srimad Bhagavatam is the torchlight to see things in proper perspective. Therefore, it was necessary to describe the signs of God from the very beginning or from the very birth of this phenomenal world. As we have already explained, Srimad Bhagavatam is so scientifically presented that any sincere student of this great science will be able to understand the science. Everyone is hankering simply by reading it with attention or simply by regularly hearing it from a bona fide speaker. Everyone is hankering after happiness in life, but in this age, the members of human society, blind as they are, do not have the proper vision that the personality of Godhead is the reservoir of all happiness, because he is the ultimate source of everything. Janmadiyasayataha. Happiness in complete perfection without hindrance can be achieved only by our devotional relationship with him. And it is only by his association that we can get free of this stressful material existence. Even those who are after the enjoyment of this material world can also take shelter of this great science of Srimad Bhagavatam. They will be successful at the end. Prabhupada is pretty profusely glorifying Srimad Bhagavatam. Even those who are after the enjoyment of this material world can also take shelter of the great science of Srimad Bhagavatam, and they will be successful at the end of plan. Narad was never advised to chant from here. Even those who are after enjoyment of this material world can also take shelter of this great science of Srimad Bhagavatam, and they will be successful at the end. Narad is therefore requested or ordered by his spiritual master, that is Brahmaji, to present this science with determination and in good plan. So this is how Srimad Bhagavatam is passed. Narad Muni received from Brahmaji, and Brahmaji gave instruction to pass this science. So we should never ever try to become a preacher of any capacity without empowerment. Here we see clearly. And they will be successful at the end. Narad is therefore requested or ordered by his spiritual master to present this science with determination and in good plan. Narad was never advised to preach the principles of Bhagavatam to earn a livelihood. He was ordered by his spiritual master to take the matter very seriously as a missionary spirit. Mayam varnayato mushya Ishwarayasya anumodata. Mayam varnayato amusya Ishwaras Ishwarasya anumodito shravanata Shraddhaya nityam Maya atma namuhyate. The Lord activities in association with different energies should be described. This is the mandate. Coming from whom? Who is giving this mandate? Lord, the activity in association with this different energy should be described, appreciated, and heard in accordance with the teachings of the Supreme Lord. If thus is done regularly with devotion and respect, one is sure to get out of the illusionary energy of the Lord. One can go back to the spiritual world. The science of learning a subject matter seriously is different from the sentiment of fanatics. Fanatics or fool may consider the Lord's activity in relation with the external energy to be useless for them. And they may falsely claim to be higher participants in the internal energy of the Lord. But factually, the Lord activity in relationship with the external energy and the internal energy are equally good. On the other hand, those who are not completely free from the clutches of the Lord's external energy should devoutly hear. See, very important what we should do. On the other hand, those who are not completely free from the clutches of the Lord's external energy should devoutly hear regularly about the activities of the Lord in relation with the external energy. So what is it called? Krishna's pastime in relation with the external energy. What is it called? बोलो गौरांगी आंसर हाथ उठा रखा है It's called Aishwarya Gyan in relation with this material creation. Krishna's potency in relation with the material creation, that is the Aishwarya Gyan. It is devoid of Madhurya. The Prabhupada is saying that those who are not completely free from the clutches of the Lord's external energy should devoutly hear regularly about the activities of the Lord in relation with the external energy. They should not foolishly jump They should not foolishly jump to the activities of the Lord's internal energy, falsely attracted by such activities as his Ras Leela. The chief reciters of Srimad Bhagavatam are very much enthusiastic about the activities of the Lord's internal potency, and the pseudo devotees absorbed in material sense enjoyment falsely jump to the stage of liberated soul and thus fall down deeply into the clutches of external energy. Some pseudo devotees think that they like to hear about the pastimes of the Lord means to hear about his activities with the gopis or his pastimes like lifting the Govardhan hill, and they have nothing to do with the Lord's plenary expansions as the Purusha avatars, and their pastime of the creation, maintenance, and annihilation of the material world. Prabhupada is saying here. So they want to directly jump to the pastime of Krishna's performing Ras Leela or Krishna lifting Govardhan hill. They have nothing to do with the Lord's plenary expansions as the Purusha avatars and their pastimes of the creation, maintenance, and annihilation of this material world. But a pure devotee knows that there is no difference between the Lord's Rasa Leela pastimes and his pastimes of creation, maintenance, and destruction of this material world. Rather, the descriptions of such activities of the Lord as those performed by the Purusha avatars are specifically meant for persons, those who are in the clutches of the external energy. Topics like the Ras Leela are meant for the liberated souls and not for the conditioned soul. The conditioned souls therefore must hear with appreciation the devotion, the Lord's pastime in relation with the external energy. Now hearing such pastimes is as good as hearing from the Rasa Leela Maharaj. A conditioned soul should not imitate the activities of liberated souls. Sri Chaitanya never indulged in hearing the Ras Leela with ordinary men. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, the Science of God, the first 9 cantos prepares the ground for hearing the 10th canto. Very important, please hear, mark it. The first 9 canto prepares the ground for hearing the 10th canto. This will be further explained in the last chapter of this canto. In the 3rd canto, it will be more explicit. A pure devotee of the Lord, therefore, must begin reading or hearing Srimad Bhagavatam from the very beginning and not from the 10th canto. We have several times been requested by some so-called devotees to take up the 10th canto immediately. But we have refrained from such an action because we wish to present Srimad Bhagavatam as the science of Godhead and not as a sensuous understanding for the conditioned souls. It is forbidden by such authorities as Sri Brahmaji by reading and hearing Srimad Bhagavatam as the scientific purpose. By reading and hearing Srimad Bhagavatam as a scientific presentation, the conditioned soul will be gradually promoted to the higher status of transcendental knowledge after being freed from the illusionary energy based on sense enjoyment. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport to the 2nd canto, 7th chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled Scheduled Incarnations with Specific Function. Hare Krishna. So I'll stop here. This chapter is done. So we see this glories of Srimad Bhagavatam is being mentioned here again. Today is a day of trying to register in our heart the glory of Srimad Bhagavatam. So how unlimitedly Srimad Bhagavatam is expanding, and it is for the benefit of everyone. The inquirer, the hearer, and also those who are present there. Okay, anyone has any question or something to contribute? You were asking something, Purushottam? आपका हाथ ऊपर हुआ था?
नहीं प्रभु.
Hare Krishna. I hope you are all utilizing this month, this Karthik month, the most favored month of Lord Sri Krishna. Okay, Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanandi, Hari Hari. From tomorrow we'll start the next chapter. 1 minute. Who has not presented so far the 2nd canto? Who has not presented? Purushottam, you presented 2.6.
Yes, Prabhu.
Sonika, you are hearing? She is not there. Anyway, we will ask her. Okay, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Okay, yes, there is hand up.
Prabhuji, I have also not presented 2nd canto.
You don't have time, Baba. Abhi to you please concentrate on yatra. Believe me, all our rooms are booked. Yesterday, Ravindra Prabhu sent me the list. Out of 30, 29 rooms are gone. I don't know this miracle. This is Krishna's special miracle. And not even one student of IERI. How many students of IERI are there in this? Ravindra Prabhu?
Prabhuji, 4 confirmed.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, 7.
7?
Yes.
Some have confirmed to you directly.
3 girls, Leela and 2 of her friends.
So Leela, from where she will join? She
I don't know. She also sent money.
Huh?
She also sent me the Lakshmi.
So you have to please ask her. Na? You have to tell her that she has to be in Delhi to come to this yatra. And her health is not permitting. I cannot take this risk. You have to ask me. You people have to ask me.
Yes, Prabhuji, I will ask.
Yeah. How can we, take Leela for the yatra of 3 days? No, she is recovering. Let her first recover fully. She did not come to IRI for almost 6 months, more than 6 months. And how can she go for yatra? Ramya, you are hearing? आप उनसे बात करिएगा, उनको समझाइएगा, अभी ठीक हो जाए तो यात्रा तो हर साल जाते हैं, ठीक है, रिस्क नहीं ले सकते. फिर सबकी यात्रा इफेक्ट हो जाएगी ना, पूरी यात्रा इफेक्ट हो जाएगी, ऐसा नहीं कर सकते। उसको डॉक्टर से सर्टिफिकेट देना पड़ेगा, डॉक्टर सर्टिफिकेट दे भी देगा तो भी मैं नहीं एग्री करता हूँ अभी। अभी शी हैज टू वेट till her health becomes completely normal. Okay, you were able to place the poster दयाशील प्रभु, you should put some schedule यार, जो मैंने लिख के दिया था वो तो डाल देते उसमें। यार we can't hear you. दयाशील, unmute and speak.
Yes, Prabhuji, I have pasted the poster, Prabhuji.
अच्छा, चलो खैर, anyway, I have found through Purushottam Prabhu, if we get students, we will get some other accommodation, which is just nearby. He went today and checked. Okay. So please utilize this opportunity in Kartik. It is so glorious. The more I am, reading and hearing and preparing, the more I am getting convinced. Very, very beneficial time. The most beneficial time to become steady and become more fixed up in our spiritual practices. Hare Krishna. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande. Hare. So who will present? Okay, 1 minute. Who will present this 7th chapter? Sonika, are you hearing?
Yes, Prabhuji.
She's not
Hare
hearing.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Kartik, your association has been minimal. So you will present this 7th chapter. You have not presented in the 2nd canto.
Yes, Prabhuji. On weekdays, it will not be possible, Prabhuji.
Why?
प्रभुजी घर आते आते ही 8:45 बज जाता है।
We only no. And what time you leave?
9 o'clock in morning.
12 hours. It's very tough. 12 hours for is difficult. Okay, we'll see later. Hare Krishna.
हरे कृष्णा। हरे कृष्णा गौरांगी। कौन सा टैलेंट दिखाओगी गौरांगी? हरे कृष्ण माता दी रिकॉर्डिंग होती यूट्यूब रे रोकते